sometimes you start reading a book and it takes you down a rabbit hole and you are so inspired by it that you just have to stop everything you're doing and make a video about it. In this video we're going to be looking at Marilyn Monroe Vintage Style Icon. 10 style lessons that we can learn from Marilyn's incredible personal style. Hello my lovelies, I hope all is good in your neck of the wood. In this video I want to have a look at Marilyn Monroe's or Norma Jean Baker's personal style. When you look at Marilyn Monroe's personal wardrobe, there is so much inspiration there. She was actually so different from the persona, the character that was pushed by the studios, that was adored by fans. In real life, she preferred to read a book and spend time alone. She felt very troubled by this very sexualized version of herself that was put out there, and really she just wanted to be a serious actress. Her off-duty wardrobe, shall we say, has got so many wonderful style lessons that we can learn. So I'm going to go through just 10 of them and a few suggestions on how you can replicate these looks yourself. Style lesson number 1, do it in denim. I don't think anybody did a pair of jeans quite as wonderfully as the wonderful Miss Marilyn Monroe. There are a few images of her in jeans that are just truly wonderful. There's the very 40s pin-up style that looks so wonderful, and then one of my favourite looks, which comes from the film River of No Return, where she's wearing jeans with a blouse not too dissimilar to this one that I made in last week's video. I'll add a card. The wonderful images of her on the set of The Misfits wearing a pair of blue jeans, very classic 501s, her cowboy boots and a lovely crisp white shirt. I don't think there's anything more stylish than this particular look. Classic 501s are always a good investment. They don't really work on my figure, however. So if I were to buy some jeans, because jeans and making jeans is quite a big process and I'm not sure that I'm in for that particular journey, but of course the very well-known Freddies of Pinewood have some wonderful options, and the Norma jeans are very particularly based off of Marilyn Monroe's jeans. I'm putting some pennies aside so that I can invest. Of course, the brilliant Gertie has just released the Marilyn jeans that you can make yourself. They're a little bit more pin-up style than classic. I personally would want classic to go with my classic blouse or white shirt if I wanted to emulate the Marilyn Monroe look. I'm a little bit undecided about the cowboy boots though. I'll have to give that a bit of a thought. Style lesson number 2 is the crisp white shirt. Ideally this should be a classic cut. Marilyn Monroe always wore an amazing crisp white shirt made from really good quality cotton. If you can get hold of a really good white shirt that works with your figure, then it's a really good wardrobe investment. Marilyn also wore versions in lovely silks and textured luxury cloth. So if you wanted to make up a shirt of your own, I would go for a classic pattern and find either a lovely heavyweight silk or a really crisp cotton, maybe make up both of them, and then you've got the option in your wardrobe and they look amazing with jeans. And then some of the other things we're going to talk about. Style lesson number 3 is all about the pencil skirt. She liked very well cut, beautifully constructed pencil skirt, fitted on the waist, fitted narrowly on the hip and fell to just below her knee, giving her a curvy but sleek and I feel a little bit demure of a silhouette, rather than this very sexy va-va-voom look that she's become synonymous with. So a well cut pencil skirt in a range of colours would be a worthwhile investment. You could of course look for thrifted versions. I have been making my own over on Patreon with my wonderful students over at Tara's School of Dressmaking. Last month we made a bespoke skirt block to our own measurements, and this month we're looking at couture techniques, and we are making pencil skirts that are fully lined and with a vent that are completely inspired by the skirts that Marilyn Monroe would have worn in the 1950s. Marilyn Monroe's style lesson number 4 is to know your silhouette. She really knew what worked for her. She had an hourglass figure. She worked with specific designers who seemed to really understand her. On film it would have been William Trevilla, who made many of her incredibly famous dresses, including that very famous white halter neck worn over the subway in 7 Year Itch. She wore form-fitting clothes that were so well cut that they made the most of her silhouette. I think it's really important to understand how proportion works as well as fit on the body. This is something that I really go into in my dressmaking classes, both IRL and on Patreon. In terms of silhouette, Marilyn used to buy couture items from labels like Anne Klein, and she would have them replicated in different fabrics and different colours by dressmakers. She stuck to a particular shape, and I think this is very wise advice. If you know something works for you and people compliment you on an item that you're wearing, then you know you're probably onto a good thing, and I say replicate that in as many colours and fabrics and patterns that work within your unique wardrobe. Lesson number 5 from Marilyn Monroe is to look edible. There was a wonderful quote from a newspaper at the time, who I am paraphrasing considerably, said, "What would it feel like to sit in front of a huge screen with Marilyn Monroe spread across it? It would feel like being smothered in baked Alaska." And I think that that's such a good phrase, and actually she did look very delicious. She had her fluffy blonde hair, she wore lots of fluffy edible looking clothes. I realise this is going to make me sound really very strange, and this cherry print dress from the film The Misfits is a case in point that she wore edible looking clothing and she seemed edible and yummy and delicious. Style lesson number 5 from Marilyn is colour palette. Despite wearing lots of very bright, gaudy, spangly colours on the big screen, off screen she had a much more muted and minimalist colour palette, tending to stick to monochromatic black and whites, creams. Through the 50s you can also see her in lots of pale mint, pale pastel colours, and this meant that her wardrobe was actually really cohesive. The lesson that I'm taking from Marilyn is to find colours that really work, that really sing to your soul, make you feel happy and make you feel great, and stick to them and replicate items in your wardrobe in those colours. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Style lesson number 7 from the great Marilyn is to have a capsule wardrobe that works for you. So tying in the idea of silhouette and fabrics and colours, create a capsule collection based around all these components that can take you from day to day, any event, and make you feel like you're living your best life. Marilyn's capsule wardrobe involved lovely knitwear, usually some kind of roll neck, and she was often photographed in a black roll neck, so that's a definite thing to get hold of. She wore well tailored capri pants. I would suggest looking at vintage pattern companies and choosing a style that is based more along vintage cuts and styles than, say, one of the modern day equivalents from the big commercial pattern company. I've already mentioned pencil skirt and a crisp white shirt or a silk shirt. You won't go wrong. Maybe have them in a black and a white, and then a print that mixes in the colours that you are incorporating into your wardrobe. Marilyn also looked amazing in well-tailored suits cut with that 1950s silhouette. They were never overtly skin tight or sexy. They were always ladylike, feminine and demure, and a well-tailored suit would be a worthy investment if it's something that you feel you need in your wardrobe. There are also some amazing images of Marilyn in very tactile looking oversized coats, and she really rocked that oversized look. A belted up vintage coat in a beautiful wool would be an amazing addition in your winter wardrobe. You can often find vintage patterns in charity shops from even the 70s and 80s, kind of replicating that 40s 50s look. Style lesson number 8 ties in very much with some of the things that we've already been talking about, but it's really using beautiful fabrics. So it ties into that tactile, yummy-licious feel, the beautiful colours, the pared back palette. But look for cashmere, angora, beautiful silks in charity shops or when out thrifting or in vintage stores. When you are making your own items, really go for the good quality if you possibly can. You'll definitely feel amazing in your clothes if you've found some kind of wool cashmere to make your pencil skirt, and then you've got a wool cashmere roll neck a la Marilyn to go on a coffee date. Style lesson number 9 is all about the wiggle, and we know that Marilyn Monroe put the wiggle in wiggle dress. The legend says that she had one of the heels of her shoes shortened slightly so that it created the wiggle look. The streamlined, very fitted shape of the wiggle dress, an extension of development of the pencil skirt, would certainly make you wiggle while you walk. She wore many versions of the sheath dress, as it technically would be called. I don't think you can go wrong with this pattern, Gertie, for Butterick. I've made the full skirted version, but here also is the fitted version. Take a little bit of time to make sure that you get the bodice fitting you properly, and choose beautiful fabrics. This would look amazing actually even in a lovely wool that has a tiny bit of stretch in it and lined in a beautiful silk. You really will want to be wiggling while you walk in that, because you would feel lovely. And the 10th and final style lesson from this incredible icon of the silver screen is to embrace yourself. If all else fails, just wear nothing at all except your Chanel No. 5 perfume. Throw a scarf over yourself and pretend that you own this place. I think it's one of the biggest joys to enjoy expressing ourselves and who we feel we are. The person that we are on the inside, we can show the world on the outside, and we can wear whatever it is we like. It really doesn't matter about any of the things that people says it matters. Whatever age, shape, whatever we are, I think just own it and do the thing that brings you joy. When I look at Marilyn, despite the tragedies and the way in which she has been marketed and presented, I see an incredibly intelligent, empathic, stylish, loving person who brought a lot of joy to the world, and she certainly brings joy to me. A quote that is attributed to her that I particularly like is "Always be yourself, retain individuality, listen to the truest part of yourself." I don't think that there are wiser words. If we listen to the truest part of ourselves and we show up as the best version of ourselves, we're making the world a better place. And if we're sewing our wardrobe, we're making it better one little stitch at a time. I really hope you've enjoyed this little dive into Marilyn Monroe style and all the style lessons that we can take from her incredible off-screen wardrobe. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend the time with me talking about one of my favourite subjects, which is Hollywood stars. I really hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you are inspired by some of these style lessons from this amazing icon. Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts, and if you have any style tips from Marilyn Monroe that you can share. I'm always incredibly grateful for your kind words and your feedback and input. It really does make this the most joyous of experiences. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are keeping safe and well. Next week we will be sewing, and I'm thinking about some little stash busting things to make for spring wardrobes. So check back next Thursday for a new video, and until then, take care, my lovelies. Bye.